Hey, thanks for tuning into my podcast. This is Big Head on the Block, hosted by me, Tim Henderson, aka Big Head.
5:40:32 seconds, September 24, 2010.
911, what is your emergency?
Someone just broke in our house.
What?
He just killed my mom.
Wow, what an emotional call to get if you're a 911 dispatcher. But guess what? This is what you train for, and this is what you pay to do. So it's time to do your job. You are on the phone with a 9-year-old little girl, Ariana, who has just witnessed her mother being shot and killed. She also was shot multiple times, including once the perpetrator stood over her and shot her execution style, probably in an attempt to eliminate her as a witness. But on this day, Ariana had the strength, courage, and audacity to get to the phone, to call 911, and to get help coming toward her. Now, think about this. I'm going to play you a segment of the 911 call in a few minutes, and it's going to describe everything to you about what she said, and then it's going to cut off when help gets there. But what I want to say about the call is this. This young girl showed remarkable composure and continually answered questions while she was laying on the ground, pretty much immobilized because she had been shot multiple times. Now, in the 911 tape, you can kind of hear sometime when she was in pain and she was kind of describing things to the 911 dispatcher. So imagine, if you will, being shot multiple times and having to endure that pain, answer questions to try and get yourself help. Now, when you hear this 911 tape, it's probably going to elicit a little bit of anger because you're going to hear this young girl clearly give information, and the call taker, in my opinion, it's just an opinion, didn't do a very good job of understanding the dynamics of who he was talking to and the magnitude of the situation. So here it is.
911, what is your emergency?
Someone just broke in our house.
What?
He just killed my mom.
Hello?
Yes.
What's going on?
Somebody just broke in our house and now he just killed my mom.
Where are you at?
Beauregard Street.
Where?
Downtown Beauregard Street.
What's the address?
645. I can't feel my leg and I just got shot 3 times and my mom got shot in the heart.
Beauregard?
Yes.
Is that in Baton Rouge?
Yes.
Okay, what's your telephone number?
I don't know. I'm just 9 years old and I just lost my mom. So,
Okay.
I'm pain.
All right.
Please go. It's so hard to go.
And you got shot?
Yes, it's so hard.
Okay.
It's so hard. I gotta go. Help.
Do you know what the person looked like?
Yes, he was a black person. He was brown and he had black hair.
Brown what?
And ow. He had a white shirt and jeans.
Okay, what's your telephone number?
I don't know. Wait.
All right. Hello? Hello? Hello?
Ow.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, is your mom breathing?
No.
Okay.
No.
Where are you bleeding from?
What? Oh, I can't look. It hurts.
Where are you bleeding from?
Oh.
Hello?
My leg.
Okay. Well, what you need to do is lie down and keep calm. Do you know where the person went?
Yes, he went out our back door.
Okay. And, what? You said it was a black male?
Yes.
Black male with what? Brown?
He was oh, I don't know.
Okay. Well, listen. Don't touch any weapons. Where you're bleeding, use a clean cloth. Apply direct pressure over it. If the cloth gets soaking, do not move it. Add more cloth that's already there. Keep warm. Don't disturb anything. Let the paramedics know any medication you're on, okay? The ambulance is on the way. The police on the way. I'm going to let you talk to them. Hold on.
City Police Emergency, Rucker.
Hey, this is Incident 2.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Talk to the police.
Hello.
No, really?
Hello.
Now, we're going to stop here before I play the final version of the 911 tape. As you hear our dispatcher, Rucker, say hello, the little girl says, "Don't leave me." She didn't understand the process. 911 transfers the call to the Baton Rouge City Police Department. Ariana's only 9. She's laying there with her mother, who's deceased. She's shot, immobile. Maybe we should have spent a little more time talking to Ariana in a manner in which she could understand. Now, the first part of this audio, the 911 call, you hear her clearly tell the information about where she lives. There was some misunderstanding by the dispatcher who thought maybe it wasn't in Baton Rouge. I don't know. She clearly gave an address, and the street should have been easily found. Second, the description she gave, she said he was black, and then she said brown. He was brown skinned. That's what she was saying. She gave white t-shirt and blue jeans as a description, but throughout this call, she had to continually reiterate everything that she said, and she got a little bit confused at times. But the dispatcher was the one confusing the situation, because I don't think that he understood. Now, and this is just an opinion. I don't know the guy. I don't remember the actual call. I've seen this on the internet some years later. But I'll tell you this. If you know a 9-year-old girl has been shot, you need to talk to her like she's a 9-year-old girl and not do some of the things that this dispatcher did, like read off. You know, there's certain things that they have to read, certain protocols. I get it, but you still need to involve yourself in the call and say, hey, I need to be a little more understanding. I need to be a little more thoughtful whenever I'm talking to this young girl who's clearly in distress. But she did such a remarkable job of giving all the information that she needed, including the fact that the person left through the rear of the house. You know, hopefully when all said and done, this was a learning process, and you can actually utilize this tape in a training scenario to make sure that you're exposing your dispatchers to these critical situations. And look, like I said, that's their job. That's what they do. The police respond to scenes and they take care of stuff there, but we need the dispatchers to be on their game and on point for these victims. So I'm going to play you the second half of the 911 call. So protocol is 911 gets the call. They get the basic information. They get police and everybody responding. Then they transfer it to the Baton Rouge City Police. I thought prior to transferring, he should have reiterated with the little girl, the call is going to the Baton Rouge City Police. We're not going to hang up. It's going to make a click. And then the dispatcher is going to talk to you. That would have been what my objective would have been, to keep this little girl calm and knowing that, hey, we still with you. But here it goes. Second part of the 911 call.
City Police Emergency, Rucker.
Hey, this is Incident 2.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Talk to the police.
Hello. Hello.
No, really?
Hello.
Hi.
What is your emergency?
Somebody just broke in and shot my mom in the head and shot me 3 times. showed me 2001 leg and one in the other.
I can't hear you, baby. What happened?
A man broke in.
Uh-huh.
And shot my mom in the head.
Okay, calm down for me, okay? How old are you?
I'm fine, because I just can't move I can't feel my foot and one of my legs, and I think I broke my ball and my arm.
Okay. Do you know what the person looked like?
Yes, ow.
Huh?
He had,
Okay, calm down and talk to me, okay? Calm down and talk to me. What was he wearing?
A white shirt and jeans.
And you said that the person shot you too?
What?
You said that you were shot?
Yes.
Where were you shot at?
Shot in my leg and ow. Wait, I think my arm was...
What is your name? What's your name, baby? What's your name?
Ariana Engler.
And where's your mother?
She's in my kitchen laying on the floor and she's all shot in her head. She has one shot in her head.
Your mother was shot in the head?
Yes.
And you were shot in your leg?
Well, I lay my arms and my under my stomach.
How old are you?
9.
You're 9?
Yes.
Okay, stay on the phone with me, Ariana.
Wait, I think he's coming back.
You say you think he's coming back. She says she think he's coming back.
Yeah, but wait.
Yeah, okay, I'm on the phone. Stay on the phone with me, Ariana. You said your mother is on the kitchen floor?
Yeah.
What's your address? 615 Beauregard?
Yeah.
That's the address? Okay, we got the police will be there in a minute. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, just calm down. Stay on the phone with me, okay?
All right.
Okay, what color is your house, Ariana?
I can't move.
Okay, I know, baby. Just stay on the phone with me. EMS is coming, okay?
Okay.
Okay, can you tell me what he was wearing?
What?
Can you tell me what he was wearing? He was a black male?
Yes.
And what was he wearing? Do you know? A white shirt and what else?
What?
He was wearing a white shirt and what else?
A white shirt and jeans.
And jeans? And where did he leave out of your house at? Do you know?
What?
Where did he leave out the front door or did he leave out the back door?
Back.
He left out the back door?
Yes.
Do you know if he took anything? If he was by himself?
Yes.
He was by himself?
Yeah.
Ariana, what's your address?
I'm trying to get out.
Huh? What's your address, Ariana?
641.
641?
The police are here.
You're at 641 Napoleon?
Yes.
Ariana. Ariana. Ariana.
Beauregard.
What is it?
It's Beauregard.
641 Beauregard?
Yes.
641 Beauregard, Mary. Ariana.
Yes.
Okay, look, I need you to give me the correct address so that we can hurry up and get the police and the ambulance there, okay? What is your correct address?
Right here out front.
You see the police?
Yes.
Okay, she says she see the police, Mary. She can't get up to open the door because she been shot in the leg.
Here.
Huh? They hear you?
No.
They don't hear you.
Oh. Here. Oh, here.
Ariana.
You all right, baby? Are you okay?
Is that the police, Ariana?
You can't see your legs? Where's your mom and dad at? Are they inside?
What the?
Hello? Oh, no, she got hung up. Man, you're getting better than me. She hung up the phone.
So now you've heard the whole tape, you make your assessment. Now, at the very end of this 911 call, the second one, the one you just heard, you hear the officer, well, prior to that, you hear her hollering over here, because she's telling Rucker that they can't hear her. So she's trying to get the attention of the police officer that arrives. He arrives and he talks to her. And look, he did a great job of talking to her in a manner in which you should talk to a child. And I commend him for that, because he's in for a horrific scene. Not that he's not seeing something horrific at the time. Now, if you heard the dial tone when the phone actually hung up when the officer got there, you hear Rucker. I don't know her state of mind, but you can hear she's a little bit under duress, because she's worried that the phone hung up. And she's, from what I gather, she's asking the other dispatcher if they've arrived on scene. That way she'll know that the little girl got help and that the bad guy didn't come back. So as you can see, this is a high stress, very tense situation for everybody. That's not even factoring in what the poor young girl, Ariana, has to endure. So add that element into it. Then you have an officer responding, having to talk to a child who's basically immobile, has been shot. She's under an extreme amount of pain. You have a lot to deal with at this point in time, and people don't understand. The police go through a lot of critical training. We go through hours and hours of training, and we recertify every year in a 40-hour in-service training just to keep updated. And then you have to use the experience that you gain on these calls. This is a call right here that needs to be dissected by everybody, from the responding patrolmen to the commanders, how they handled the investigation, the homicide division. You need to go back to your dispatchers, the 911 dispatcher. You need to go back to the secondary dispatcher, which was the Baton Rouge City Police dispatcher. And we need to all debrief and make sure that we did everything right and utilize this situation as a learning tool. You know, as unfortunate as the event is, if we don't debrief and we don't learn from what we did right and what we did wrong, we're going to continue to do things that may not be in the best interest of everybody. So now our officer is on scene. He's secured the young girl. He's going to render medical aid. But at this point in time, he has a lot to think about, because it was believed that the suspect may be coming back. So he has to defend himself. He has to defend her while giving medical attention. And at some point in time, this house has to be cleared. And what I mean by that is, we don't know if the perpetrator's in the house or not. We can never assume that they're gone, because a lot of times they're still on scene. They're still in the house. They could be hiding. Maybe a cop came from a back street, intercepted them, and they look for a place to hide. So, you know, it's the responding officer and his backup. It's their primary responsibility to take care of the victim, secure the victim, defend her with your life. Then you have to make entry into the house. Hopefully you'll have 2 or 3 officers at the time. It's hard for one person to clear a house in an emergency situation. You can do it. However, from a tactical standpoint, you're at an extreme disadvantage. You know, those saying sometimes you got to do what you got to do. Well, hopefully they had enough help and enough people coming, because calls like this, everybody comes. If you close, if you hear it, you're going to come to that call, because you hoping that if you get a chance to intercept this guy, that you are going to have the opportunity to show him exactly the error of his ways. I'm not going to get into specifics, but I can tell you there's probably a lot of emotions going on then. And that bad guy's lucky he didn't intercept or engage these cops, because I promise you they would have shot him dead, and they wouldn't have cared one little bit about it after what he did to these poor people. But let's get back on point. Got to clear the house. you make entry, you clear the house, you secure the scene as best you can. Now, there's a lot of stuff that's going to be of evidentiary value that may be compromised a little bit, because when you're clearing the house, your focus is to tactically clear the house and make sure that you don't have a perpetrator in the house. Sometimes you're going to have to interfere with the crime scene a little bit. You may walk in blood. You may do a couple of other things. You may have to move something. You just have to remember what you did. That way you can let the crime scene technicians know when they arrived. So now you got the house clear. You have to have an officer that ropes the crime scene off at some point in time, and then they have to keep track of everybody who came into the crime scene area, or after the tape's up, everybody who comes in after, which is usually the homicide division, crime scene division. Usually, if you have to have security, you'll keep your perimeter officers on the outside of the tape, or if they come inside the tape, it's not that big a deal. You just have to note it on your crime scene log. But you have a response from the original officer who got there, and he needs to disseminate as much information as he can about the suspect. This little girl gave such a great description. Unfortunately, in that area, not necessarily that particular area, but in close proximity to that area, you're going to have a lot of people that fit the description, because white T-shirt and blue jeans, black male. The brown skin is something that may give you a little advantage if you happen to be canvassing the area. And look, at this point in time, if you see people that fit that description, you can just casually talk to them. Unfortunately, you might not necessarily have, not probable cause, but you might not necessarily have reasonable suspicion to actually stop them. But you can always talk to people and ask them, hey, man, what's going on? Did you see anything? So now everybody in the city's on high alert. You got media responding. I'm sure they had a multitude of media outlets there, because this is a serious situation, and this is something that's newsworthy to them. You have your homicide detectives responding to the scene. You have your commanders responding, probably the chief, the assistant chief, uniform patrol commander, and such. They're probably going to all be notified because of the dynamics of this event. And just knowing that this little girl, that's the biggest thing. The mother got killed. A lot of people get killed, and I'm not minimizing that. But to know that you have a survivor that's 9 years old and they tried to execute her, that's going to elicit a little bit more extreme emotional response, because now, as they say, we're going to be riding for Ariana. We're going to make sure that we do everything we can to get justice for her and for her mother, who was tragically killed once again by a coward. So now the real work begins. You got homicide detectives, and I'm not going to speak for them because I've never been a homicide detective. I've seen some of the things that they do. I've seen them in action. Baton Rouge City Police has always had an advanced homicide division that I found to be very capable. At that time, they had a lot of experience. They had a lot of good, sound detectives that were very good at their job. And, if something were to happen, such as this event, I feel certain that we would have put our best foot forward, and they would have worked in unison to try and figure out what happened here. But secondary to that, you have your patrol officers who need to canvass the area, who need to be looking for things that are out of place. You need to have your street cops. You need to have them out there getting in touch with their informants, getting in touch with people that they have relationships with. You need to have your narcotics division. I don't think we had a street crime division at the time. I can't remember. It's been some years ago. But if we had an additional element, you would. But the narcotics, the street cops and the narcotics agents that work for Baton Rouge City Police, they deal with some of the more nefarious people in Baton Rouge. You deal with the devil sometimes. Sometimes the information they got is more important than the stuff that you could arrest them for. So you make deals with them and you do the best you can to get information. Now, if I had to put somebody in jail for 10 pounds of weed or get the name of the shooter, I'm letting the weed guy go. Give me the name of the shooter, right? I talked to my informants, and I'm sure everybody else in the police department that had resources are out there trying to figure out who did this crime. Now, to note, I want to say this. I was given some information early on, and it proved to be very vital. However, some other people were getting similar information. So, you need to make sure, and Baton Rouge City Police does a good job of funneling all the information to somebody. So if you know who the primary detective is, you can make sure that either them or their commander hears what you have to say. And I dealt with informants a lot, so I had a pretty good relationship with a lot of the homicide detectives back then, and they were very receptive to hearing anything, because a lot of times from a street level, you're going to get stuff, may not be 100% accurate, but there's usually a little truth to it. If you have informants that are locked solid and they 100%, you need to tell them, hey, this guy's always been 100%. This is what he told me. And I had an informant who fit that criteria. I was told that they didn't know the name of the guy who did the murder, but they told me his dad's name, and they told me something about his eyes being kind of funny looking, right? Now, I don't know what that meant, but ultimately after the arrest, you can see that he clearly had odd looking eyes, and he fit the description of being brown skinned, as young Ariana said when she first described him as a black male with a white t-shirt and blue jeans leaving the area. So a cumulative effort by everybody involved is what it takes. I didn't have a name. I don't know what other officers were feeding back to the homicide division. Everybody, has their own role, and everybody has their own abilities. Luckily, I was a street guy, so I had a lot of resources in the street. Eventually, the person that gave me the information, my confidential informant, he was right, but it took him a couple of days to get the name of the person named Aramis Jackson. So I didn't get that right away, but I remember getting in touch with homicide and saying, hey, I finally got the name. This is the name, Aramis Jackson. And they had just within the last few hours, we don't talk all the time. I only call them when I have information or if they need help and they call, we would talk, but it wasn't like constant conversation. But I was told that they actually had a DNA match and that it was in fact Aramis Jackson. So I was able to corroborate that with street intelligence saying, hey, this is the guy who did it. The streets are going to always give you some information, and you got to make sure that you know who you're dealing with and know how to look for different sources of this information and how to prove things, because I can give homicide all the information I can, right? They have to make a case and prove these things. So I have to give them as much depth about the person or the situation to help them, because if I just give them random stuff and expect them to make a case based on that, it's not going to happen. They have to prove this case beyond a reasonable doubt. And no matter what I tell them, they still have to prove it, right? So it takes a village, as they say. And I hope that everybody involved in this particular case knows that they did a great job. We quickly, it was within a day or two. I don't remember the exact time frame of when it happened and when the arrest was made. But BRPD did their job. They did it effectively. And a lot of people say, well, y'all put a lot of resources into one shooting. And I say to them this: every shooting matters, every homicide matters. But the difference in this one compared to every other one is that this guy tried to kill a 9-year-old little girl, execution style. And we have got to make sure that we put the same effort into every case, but she needed a little bit more effort because of what she had to endure. And this could have been any of our kids, man. So, as wild as this may sound, we were focused. We're focused all the time, but we were hyper-focused on this. And I do believe it's because this little girl was a victim, a 9-year-old little girl. So, she tugged at our heartstrings, and we wanted to find this guy, because if he would do that to her after he shot and killed the mom, if he would try to execute her, that just shows you what's going through his mind and his mindset, and the belief that he poses such a danger to society. If we don't catch him immediately, this trend could continue, and he could continue doing this all behind a TV, people, all behind a TV. A woman lost her life, and a young kid was shot execution style. and left for dead in the early morning hours of September 24th, 2010. So now let me give you the outcome of the case. Aramis Jackson, who was a suspect, fled to Atlanta. He was later apprehended in Atlanta after linking up with a female who knew nothing about the crime. He was brought back to Baton Rouge. In December of 2010, a grand jury indicted him, and the indictment was for first-degree murder and attempt first-degree murder. Now, after the indictment, District Attorney Hiller Moore was quoted as saying, "This is a case the death penalty is made for. To me, knowing what I know, death is the only appropriate sentence in this case." That was Hiller Moore's quote. Also, a quote from our spokesman at the time, Sergeant Don Kelly, said, "The police department concurs with that statement by Hiller Moore. I think just about everybody in the community feels there is a need for the death penalty." So the city police who investigated, the district attorney who investigated or is prosecuting the crime, they've made a determination that the death penalty is warranted. And I think everybody else who had any kind of inside information or just the general public wanted the death sentence in this case. Now, prior to the trial, an agreement was made between the district attorney, the family, and I guess the defense, and they allowed him to make some kind of plea arrangement. Now, instead of me going into details and reading, I'm going to let you hear a story that Chris Nakamoto did at the time, where you hear from the district attorney and you also hear from Ariana and some of her family members, I believe her grandmother. So this is a story from Chris Nakamoto.
I can't feel my leg, and I just got shot 3 times, and my mom got shot.
The voice on that chilling 911 call is a child just after watching her mother being shot to death in Baton Rouge. Good evening. The murderer who took that child's mother and shot her took responsibility for his actions today.
Aramis Jackson dodged the death penalty. His life was spared, but he'll spend the rest of it locked up without the benefit of probation or parole.
911, what's your emergency?
Someone just broke in our house.
What?
He just killed my mom.
Hello?
Yes.
What's going on?
Someone just broke in our house, and now he just killed my mom.
It's a chilling phone call that a child should never have to make. Tonight, Ariana Engler is speaking out for the first time since making that phone call 7 years ago.
It kind of happened, and I don't really look back on it, so just kind of keep going forward.
Engler wears a brace on her leg. Her body still scarred from the bullets that Aramis Jackson fired.
I know I had one nightmare that, I still have in my head. It was just it was the end of the world, and it was just awful.
In court, Ariana's grandmother and Alexandra's mother held up her picture as she looked Jackson in the eyes and told him the pain and loss he's caused cannot be fathomed.
I've looked him in the eyes as much as possible every single time I've come down for a hearing, a status conference, anything. I had no problem looking him in the eye. What's done is done. And my pain, my grieving, my rage, it's there.
Jackson was facing the death penalty, but was given a so-called contract for life, a plea deal of sorts, which ultimately spared his life and spared the victim's family from going through a lengthy trial.
I believe that the death penalty is an appropriate justice for this defendant in this case. However, my beliefs come second in this case to the well-being and the request of Ariana and her family. Ariana, again, now 16, would more likely be 40 years old by the time this matter would have wound its way through our current system.
Over the past 7 years, Jackson has never showed an ounce of remorse. And even after taking responsibility for his actions today, he never said, "I'm sorry."
In my opinion, you saw what I saw, absolutely none.
But for this forgiving family and this team now trying to move on with their life, today brought closure, an ending they've waited 7 long years for.
He's just another person to me. He's just did something really bad.
Jackson was transferred over to the Department of Corrections today. As part of the plea deal he signed, he cannot appeal it.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Big Head on the Block. I'm Tim Henderson, the host. I look forward to dropping another podcast soon. Please give us any comments, likes, dislikes, or any topics y'all would like to discuss. Thank you.